All right. Well, good morning, folks. That intro video is fantastic, and it did
I
not
love
work.
the smooth transitions, just the
Yeah.
way it glided all the down
It's,
planetary.
it was
Nailed it.
fantastic, and I apologize. We'll see if we can play it at the end, and maybe it'll be better then. But that was not great. But welcome, to a Mo Tuesday, and we're broadcasting from Canada here, so it's Mo Tuesday morning.
Good morning.
And because we're broadcasting
Good morning
here on the Go Figure channel, and we are Canadian based, we brought on a Canadian legend here, folks. We have Wes from Fandom Power Podcast.
Who are you talking about?
This guy right here. So I will say this, Wes.
Morning.
We have a collector community here. We all like geeky things and toys and whatnot. And you were the first guy that someone said to me when I got into this whole area, you got to meet Wes.
Oh,
you
that was very,
you got to
very,
meet Wes and Bob Cage.
very gracious.
And so Wes at one point in time had a great little toy store called Silver Screen Collectibles. And I've gone there and I've bought a couple of great pieces of my collection from Wes. And it was one of those things, I think, that we had chatted online before we met in person, and then
I believe that's true.
And we're kind of like, are we friends? Like, 2023 is weird, right? Because you can meet people and be like, I think we're friends. Is that you?
That's right.
And so, Wes, we are pumped up to have you here. If you guys haven't yet followed or subscribed to Wes's channel, he does a lot of great content. Him and his crew. They do almost like weekly recaps of The Bad Batch and The Mandalorian, and
Sundays are busy right now.
Sundays are busy. They do random fandom, just incredible content. So go and check them out.
Oh, that's right. I got to do that tonight. It's a good thing that's unscripted.
There you go. It's like, oh yeah, I need to. Why am I here? I gotta go. But also we got Hazel and we got Phil. We got just the legends here for Mo Tuesday.
Hello.
And, how are you guys doing? How are things going over in Japan and Australia?
Oh, Phil, how are you feeling? You feeling better? You weren't well.
Going. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. My internet seems to still be a bit crook, so hopefully you guys can hear me. It's cutting out a little bit. Hopefully it clears up as the stream continues. But I had a bit of a head cold over the weekend and maybe a bit of hay fever from the change of season. So. But I'm ready to rock for Mo Tuesday tonight. I'm ready to go.
Well, you
my
sound great
is as well.
You sound great and look real handsome. I'll say that right now.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And you're good down there in down under, my friend.
Things are going well. It's a bit hot here today. I'm sitting under the fan. I've got the fan going, but I'm wearing board shorts. And I was like, I wonder
I'm
if
so
I can
envious.
Yeah. Wes and I on the weekend had maybe
all that exercise, mate.
That's what it is.
The biggest snowfall of the winter.
Yeah.
On Saturday, we got feet and feet of snow, and I was on a retreat up north in Muskoka, so we got even more snow up there. Yeah. And you're wearing boardies, so it's relatable. We're on the same page.
Yeah. Lucky I'm even wearing a shirt. Everyone is very lucky.
I debated showing up in my bathrobe. I mean, it is only just after 6 here.
Bathrobes only work if you have the bunny slippers to go with them.
You'll never know.
He's wearing the slippers.
We'll take a quick look in the chat and see who's here this morning, bright and early. We've got legend Joe Ricondo.
Oh.
Happy Mo Tuesday.
Eye surgery. Hopefully he's going all right. His eye surgery went well enough that he can type that out. So good on him.
That's right. It's just random letters typing.
Nailed it.
I think that if Joe Ricondo is our target audience, we need to talk to Hallmark and get some Happy Mo Tuesday cards made up.
Oh, yes.
Just start sending people Mo Tuesday cards. That'd be
great.
Good
to see you, Joe. Good to see you.
Exactly. We got Masterversal Toy Hunter.
Eldor.
Hello.
Here in the chat.
Representing New Zealand. Nice.
Figuratively speaking is here.
Hello.
Good morning.
The great guy.
Hey.
Chat legend. Classified is here. Classified. How are you
All my favorite toys have that moniker.
Always looking for a lunchbox.
Always looking for a lunchbox. Matthew Comstock, he is here, ready to just get into the He-Man business.
Hey,
overall.
Matthew.
I'll
Hey,
raise
Matt.
the roof for that.
Another legend.
And then we have a mobile recluse who's come out of his reclusiveness to be part of Motuesday.
Hoy hoy.
I like that they're a recluse, but they're also mobile.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then we got Jewel Who 9.
Hey, Jewel.
Jewel, that's the Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that.
We just
Oh,
watched
yeah.
that with my kids the other day because we had watched Romancing the Stone not too long
Yeah.
ago. And then Jewel of the Nile, which is a great sequel.
Classic.
Classic. And then we got Nolan is here.
Nolan.
It's not a
Cheers,
party
buddy.
until Nolan starts up.
I love his picture there.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a beauty. And then finally we have hedgehog action. So
Hello.
when you're down on luck, you need to get that hedgehog action going on.
That's a spiky. It's a spiky interaction.
Yeah, no, but quick. It's over fast.
Call me
I can hear it in
Hedgehog.
my head.
So before we get into our bits we have like the Masters of the Universe, and then we're going to go through a wave of
Ooh.
vintage and then a wave of origins. We have that. I wanted to run something by you guys because you're my go-to for Motu and just collecting in general. I am dangerously close to finishing my vintage line of Motu figures.
I've been
And-
following your updates online. It's very exciting.
It's great. It's great stuff that we're doing. So I think Phil is changing his device. I hope he's changing his device.
Come back,
time's
Phil.
the charm.
Come
We
back.
want you here. So today I pick up Gwildor and Extendar.
Right.
Oh,
I got a-
very nice.
We got a sweetheart deal on those guys. So picking them up, which I'm down to. So and this is where I want to get your thoughts on this, whether I can call things complete, because there's a couple of asterisks I will have in it, but I don't think I don't mind that. So
Yep.
the figures I need left to get in my mind are Buzzsaw Hordak, Saurod,
Yep.
and Multibot. Those are the ones that are outstanding at the time, except for the other four that are outstanding are Laser Light He-Man, Laser Power Skeletor, and
Right.
Twistoid and Rotar.
Yep.
But I don't think I need those four to complete the Motu collection in my mind. I think
I would-
Twistoid. I think
you've got
Twistoid. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say Twistoid and Rotar. I think are stupid. I don't think they.
That's
Look-
fine then.
I don't think they look like Motu guys. They were never in any content. I think they were just like a last minute. I'm gonna make tops into figures, and so
Yeah.
I have no love for them. And I just think that the laser power are so expensive and so
Yeah.
sought after. I don't think they can count towards a complete collection. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, so you know me, I do love Masters Universe because I was away from toys for so long. I really my gateway back in was through Masters Universe Classics,
Right.
and even I avoided those figures in the Classics line. So I mean, you could say sure, it's complete. I think we all have our own sort of dream team in our head canon. And
Right.
I think there's no canon that's more important than head canon. So if you are
Right.
satisfied with
Yeah.
that, yeah, job well done.
Yeah. And I've
Yeah,
also
I think I've got an argument, Adam, for not having to pick up another He-Man or Skeletor. So long as you have at least one He-Man and at least one Skeletor, you can call any
Yeah.
any collection complete, so long as you have one of those
right.
items. But I mean, as far as the other ones go, I mean, do you have the asteroid ones?
Oh, the
Well,
meteorbs.
The Meteorbs.
Yeah, the Meteorbs. You have those?
I don't have the Meteorbs because they're not figures. So I'm only going for like the actual figures and not so much like I don't have all the vehicles. I have most of the vehicles.
Right.
I bought my first vehicles from Wes at Silver
Stab me
Creek
right
West.
through the heart when you say they're not figures. Every Transformer fan in the world just went, "Ugh."
To be fair, like the Meteorbs are not like I got Stone Door and Rock on like those.
I was gonna say that's like saying they're not figures either because they're rocks.
Yeah, but the Meteorbs were a Japanese Toyland that metal.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
Phil,
true.
I was going to ask you about that because apparently you can still find those on toy shelves under different brand name, right? The Meaty Orbs.
What I missed the Motu egg looking things.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them on the secondhand markets here. Yeah, they do seem to be not readily available, but yeah, you can definitely pick them up over here for a decent price.
There you
But
go.
I think
I never saw that feeling.
that the design of those, though, I think they still keep pumping out every now and again in Japan under a different banner, like whatever the original line was called in Japan. I think they still I think it's still a thing. But I don't know, Phil. You'll be the man on the street going out and having a look.
Yeah,
I'll do a bit more research. I'll report back next Motuesday. That's my homework.
Perfect.
Very good.
Phil's going to be our very own Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? In front of the green screen.
Well, look, I think you guys
cool.
have just cost me some money because Master Versal Toy Hunter says a few of the Meteor Orbs on trade here in New Zealand. So
Oh well, you might have options then.
Might have some options
Yeah.
there. The other caveat is Wonder Bread He-Man or Savage He-Man. And so I have a custom one, and for me that fills the slot. I would feel irresponsible having one and not like buying a car instead.
I feel like with Origins though, because the scale is so close, you could easily substitute a modern to fill that slot, and the arm's length test, it passes. Like you wouldn't know.
Yeah. So
you put them in a squat pose. Look, here's one I prepared earlier.
There he is.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Package. I do love when you see
Just like that.
Marketplace or Kijiji, and they only last for an hour or so because people get just bombarded.
Yeah.
But when people try and sell Origins as vintage,
oh yeah,
$400. Like,
the outrage.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Incoming comments in 3, 2.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So, but anyways, so when we have a guest on here, like the legendary Wes, we like to say to them, give it to them. We say, what would you have done if in the 80s there was a contest of you can use existing Motu parts? What would...
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
So I will say the last guest we had, Rob Vegas.
Yeah.
Brilliant guy, brilliant guest. Loved having him on. Went a certain direction with his. Here's my idea. He just took circles in, I think it was MS Paint.
Yeah.
Made a all black character with a Caucasian head, and it said metal on his shirt. And he goes, it would be something like this. And do any Motu guys wear trousers? Because I don't own shorts. That was his only guidance. And then I asked Wes, and I was expecting something a little bit different than that. And Wes went, guys, full. He went full hard in the paint. We could do a whole Motuesday just going to his backstory of this character.
Oh, perfect.
It's that good. And so I'm just going to bring up here the Motuesday graphic, and you guys are going to be blown away.
Oh, I'm seeing this for the first time. Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
It looks so good.
So
that is very cool.
There is what he did here. So we'll just walk you through it. So the construction is a Man-at-Arms head. It's a battle armor He-Man chest. And then Roboto, waist, legs, and arms. Now, Wes had originally asked me when he did it that it was going to be a multi-bot arm here with the human hand.
Yeah.
However, the multi-bot connectors are different.
They are different.
So it wouldn't work. So I made an audible, and I just gave it the Roboto.
The other Roboto arm. I actually consider that was my first thought, was just swap make it just Roboto arms across the board.
Yeah, and so I thought that worked better from a Mattel 1986 perspective.
Sure, it does.
And then he threw Buzz-Off's wings on the back there because why not?
Yeah.
And then so when we go over to the colors and accessories, we're including a Grayskull sword here. Now, this is not the actual Grayskull sword. I designed this one up myself.
Good.
In the 3D space. I wanted to give it a little bit bigger blade and a little different hilt, but the idea is it's a basic sword you'd get from a weapons rack in Eternia.
Yep.
And also comes with the laser gun accessory for the Roboto arm.
Yep.
And he was very much adamant he wanted a sorcerer's Zor as the chest piece, the spinning around. It has to be. And so the name of his figure is Sentinel Man-at-Arms. But Wes, I'm going to, first off, I think this is a brilliant toy. Like, take away what you're going to walk us through in a second with the story. This toy, I think, would be a lot of fun to play with. And I wanted to get Zazel's input because Man-at-Arms is your boy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, when my eye was instantly drawn to step 3. I know, you're supposed to go step 1, step 2, step 3, but the colors pop so much on this figure that my eyes were just instantly drawn onto the final product. I love the green and the gold. Aussie colors are green and gold. When we're looking at Olympic colors, it's the green and the gold. So it's already a winning combination. But yeah, this is a worthy upgrade to my boy Man-at-Arms. And I love the Zor emblem, but does it do anything when it spins?
In my mind, it was sort of the similar feature. Like, it would still have the battle damage feature, so it would be partially degraded and then really crinkled on the second roll of the barrel.
Because an idea could be that the second hit is the transformation animation, and then the third step is a picture of the sorceress on her chest.
Fantastic too.
Which could be weird depending on how you look at it.
Well, thematically, that fits thematically with the idea that I had for this guy.
So I was going to say, okay. I read it is that as you hit it, it wouldn't be battle damage; it would be powering up. So it gets
even better,
right?
That's even better.
The power up. So Wes, walk us through this creation here.
So the idea for Sentinel Man-at-Arms is that first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be invited to do this. I had no idea that it was going to be this big reveal. So like I'm giddy as a schoolgirl right now. I just love this. When Adam said, "This is the idea behind this. What if the line had continued? What would your toy be?" Masters of the Universe, like all boys brands of the 1980s, thrived on the variant figure. And I always felt really connected to the animated series as a kid. And I really love the Duncan Sorceress romance and how they never were able to get together. I mean, it was that sort of those unspoken words. And I thought Man-at-Arms deserves at least a sliver of happiness. So in my mind, there's a period of time where He-Man is absent for some reason. And so it basically falls to the sorceress to protect the castle by herself. But of course, Duncan would not allow that. And so he goes to the castle to fight. And in that battle, they eventually get to sort of share their love, but tragically, the sorceress is killed at the hands of Skeletor, and with He-Man being absent, it falls to Duncan for some reason to get just a sliver of the power of Grayskull. And so the idea is that this is his Pokemon evolution when he gets gets to dip his toe in the well.
Right.
And has he lost a hand, or is he holding it like within?
Well, the idea was that I love the idea of Duncan as a tinkerer inventor. So the idea was that he shows up at Grayskull, he's already wearing a brand new suit of armor because it's just him. Like, there's nobody else here to fight this fight. So he's got the best, newest battle suit that he can possibly make. And when he gets anointed with the power of Grayskull, it becomes this biomechanical exosuit, really, that becomes a part of him.
Right. If Rob Vegas was here, he would ask that gun be colored in a flesh color.
Well,
shout out to Rob Vegas. But yeah, this is great.
I did give him a flesh-colored hand. He does have the one flesh.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's almost like a RoboCop sort of homage there.
That was kind of what I was thinking.
We're on the same page.
Yeah,
Adam,
so this is brilliant.
I was just going to say, Ad, that I appreciate the restraint in not giving him the mustache. It would have been a very easy thing to do to just go, no, Man at Arms has a mustache. The cartoon said so. But yeah, you've shown restraint in not giving Duncan one there.
Yeah. So again, it was and I've said this before. Like my Motu content was always the box art, not so much even the mini comics, but just the box art told stories that those are the stories I wanted to hear. And he never had a mustache in the box art. He was just going for it. So yeah, this one was ambitious to make. There was a lot of moving parts here. I made up one. I had thought I had it all in my memory, and I had given him one with human legs, and I went back over just to and I was like, oh no, he's got roboto legs.
Yeah, roboto legs. Yeah.
And so this was a lot of fun to make.
Oh, I'm glad.
And it's a thing, but we have a thing, Wes, where Zazel here, he's trying to come to Joe Fest. He's got a little GoFundMe going on there, and so what I offer up, and I've made one's in the post. It should be in Australia now, if not very, very soon. But we put a donation value.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this one's a big deal. But Zazel,
yeah,
the next person starting now, mark a timer.
Got it.
Donates $50 to the GoFundMe. Sentinel Man at Arms will become a reality.
Oh, nice.
All right. So if anybody makes the next $50 donation, this guy's going to happen. And
I might have to open my wallet for that.
Well, but here's the other thing. Because Wes is so close, it will be made by me and signed by Wes. I'm going to take a ride up to Bob Cajun.
I will gladly sign that for anybody and everybody.
I'll take Wes out for lunch. We'll go get some poutine here in Canada.
He can fly to Wiz.
Pardon me, Phil?
He can fly to Wiz.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Yeah.
You can fly, and then we'll get that signature there, and we'll have a real Motuesday kind of souvenir.
That's right. While we're eating poutine and drinking Pepsi.
Exactly. Poutine and Pepsi is a Canadian standard.
Well, I don't know what the first word is, but I know what a Pepsi is.
So, poutine, Zazel, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you're going to be eating it when you come to Canada. That's, I think, the first meal I have to take you to. But it's a Canadian thing where we take French fries, or as you call them, chips, and then you put gravy on those French fries, and then fresh cheese curds, probably from Montreal is the best place to get them. And then you eat that, and it's like heaven.
Okay. I don't know what a cheese curd is, but we're learning. Chips and gravy. That's right, Phil. Chips and gravy. That I'm already on board for. But I'm going to figure out what this curd is.
Cheese makes everything better.
Yeah. So we've got some reactions to this right now. So Nolan says, that's so awesome. Great job. And I'd say a lot of that awesomeness is because of Wes and his incredible idea.
I could not have realized it the same way that you have, Adam. So don't sell yourself short. The rendering, the 3D modeling is amazing. And if it never went beyond that, I could die a happy man seeing this.
Well, there you go. Well, the whole idea was we're going to put together after, like, I guess a few of these, our Motu shelf, our virtual Motu.
Oh, that's cool. Shelf. So cool.
And so we'll be able to put those up. And Hedgehog Action goes, whoa. So I have a theory that Hedgehog Action is actually Joey Lawrence.
Whoa.
Watching. And he's still at Wuju, Jewel Wu, not Wuju, Jewel Wu 9 says that's awesome. And Joe Ricondo is a big fan of Joe Fest. So that's.
Oh yeah, Joe will be at Joe Fest.
Joe will be at Joe Fest. Absolutely.
It's named after him. He has to be there.
He's got to be there, boys. Okay.
You know what? It's only just occurred to me that whilst Masters of the Universe had a lot of reused parts and a lot of different He-Mans, they didn't really double up on a lot of characters.
No, they
created
just the core. Your two big heavies, I guess.
Yeah, nobody else got a redo.
Yeah. Oh, well, Hordak maybe, I guess, with the.
Yeah, that's right. Hordak had Buzzsaw, Hordak, and
Buzzsaw and Hurricane. Yeah.
Hurricane Hordak was the best with that gold chest. Just pops.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it all. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through wave 2 of the vintage line. Wave three of the vintage line, and then kind of rate each figure. And then we're going to go through wave 3 of origin and we're beyond the days of the 1-to-1 comparison, because modern toys are released in a different algorithm.
Completely differently, yeah.
And I think maybe to our detriment, but we're going to have fun doing this. And I want to go in saying, before we get there, vintage wave 3 of Motu, I think was it at its peak. I think we're getting the best wave of Motu figures ever released.
Before we move on too forward, Adam, onto that, I do want to say two things. Number one, you absolutely nailed that picture for Wes, and I got to say, each and every week that we do this, you pull out all the stops and you come up with something that I couldn't possibly fathom being a reality, and you nail it every time. And just to put an answer into the question you asked initially when we first started the stream on when is your collection finished, I would say that because we didn't actually come up with an answer for that. I think that once you look at it and you go, I'm satisfied,
right,
well, then that's complete, right? You don't need, if you don't have, because all you're doing is spending money for the sake of it, right? It's
Absolutely.
not a love, it's not a desire. It's just the collection dictates that I have these, but it doesn't have to. I don't need every He-Man. I just need Thunder Punch.
Just Thunder Punch, and that's
all
right.
I need. That's my boy.
And I think it's also a matter of, so I was content never owning a Mosquitor, because I think it's a ridiculous figure. Like, I think of all the Motu figures, like it's out there.
He has fans. He has fans,
and the guys love him. But he's always got a killer price tag. He's always like 125. Like, if you have him with his gun, he's always like a big price tag. And I was like, I'm okay not spending that much money on a Mosquitor. But
I don't know what they were thinking with that character. I was thinking about him the other day. Actually, when we were talking about doing Motu U, I was thinking about Mosquitor parts, because I thought he's got these really weird looking legs and boots. And I went and looked at them again, and I'm like, he's the only guy that has these boots.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else has these boots. And I immediately went, are those, it looks like Mantech. They look like Mantech boots. And I'm like, that's awful.
Yeah, no, it's
no offense to the Mantech fans, but like, ugh.
Our chat just drops off. Mantech rules. They're all gone.
Well, I was never really a Horde guy. I was always a Skeletor and his minions guy.
Right.
I think the only Horde, like, we had a bunch of Horde, because I had brothers similar age. We had a bunch of the Horde, but I think the only real Horde character I had was the android, the robot thing.
Multibot, or no, yeah, Multibot.
No. The silver version of this thing.
The Horde Trooper.
Horde Trooper. Yeah.
Horde
So
Trooper.
the Horde Trooper, I believe from memory, was the only Horde character I personally owned, whereas my brothers had Mosquitor and Hordak and Leech and all of that. But I was more into Two-Face, not Two-Face, Too Bad. Anyone but Spycore, basically. I can't.
Yeah, they've got some unfounded hate for Spycore.
No, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that garbage. And now that I've said it, Phil's disappeared too.
I'm gonna get a Spycore.
Killed him.
Cut all his spikes off.
Yeah.
And make a custom package. His name is just Ore.
Blunt Ore.
Right. No, but I was at the last toy show we're at, and I came across a Mosquitor, and I was like, and he was like in the case and everything. And I was like, what do you want for a Mosquitor? And the guy's like, 40.
Done.
I was like, all of a sudden I got a Mosquitor. And then the next day, a guy was looking for a trade for some Sectars, which I have a bunch extra. I got myself a complete Modulok. So all of a sudden my
oh wow, that's nice.
Two guys that I was not looking forward to paying a lot of money for, I was like, now they're in the collection. So here we go. And then Extendar today, and we're getting dangerously close to the end of that one.
You've actually raised an interesting point as well when it comes to collecting. Is like what can you give away in order to get something into your collection as well? So therefore, there's no financial impact involved, and I feel a lot better giving something and getting something than paying for something.
Yeah, no, I'm all about the trades. I don't know if that's a Canadian thing, but often guys will be like, "Hey, what do you got for trade though? Like, let's trade." And I'm like, "That's almost more fun." There was someone I did a trade with for some mask things, and he was like, "Hey, I said I was looking for a couple loose figures." And he's like, "Yeah, I got them. Are you into trades?" And I said, "Yeah, like what are you looking for?" He goes, "Let's do a blind trade. I'll send you these guys. Just send me."
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting concept.
That's very bold.
Yeah. But I think it goes back to like the
Bellator.
Bellator's back.
Oh God, I'm having a bloody nightmare. Hopefully it's all right now. Fingers crossed. Sorry,
essentially now our Latka. He's not here all the time, but when he's here, it's gold.
It's frozen. Shout out to Lorazzo from Melbourne, Florida. We've got a Melbourne here. We pronounce Melbourne. You guys probably pronounce it Melbourne. Yeah. There was, I think the blind trade thing goes to you're going to err on the side of caution because you want to maybe oversell so you don't look like a jerk. There was I was just going to say that. I was going to say you would put in more, and I'm the kind of guy that would just throw in a few things anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to make sure you don't get a spike or something sent back to you. That's just garbage. But
all the spike ores. Army building spike ores.
Nah, get out of here. That stupid trident arm, dumb. Dumb.
I'm gonna start now collecting.
His name's Spike-Ore. His name's Spike-Ore, and he's got a trident with blunt ends. The spike.
I would love.
He is so spiky that his weapon is blunt.
David.
David's
here.
How are you, David?
How's it going, my friend? I would love to see the Mattel board meeting, and they're like, we can't have his trident this sharp. His name is Spike-Ore.
Yeah, it's in the name.
Come on, guys. Come on.
What a dumb character. Get out of here.
There you go.
Your collection is not complete if you have a Spike-Ore. It is only complete once you dump it.
You can
get out of here.
Pieces of a Spike-Ore around the feet of He-Man, but he's all cut up.
Even He-Man's too good for the bits of Spike-Ore. Phil, have you got a Spike-Ore, Phil?
You need a custom of Spike-Ore, Adam.
Yeah.
You need to make that Spike-Ore razor sharp, buddy. Make it,
razor sharp. Yeah.
Punch through skin.
My the video will have me at the end all covered in band-aids and like, well,
yeah. I'll see that video.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into this. We've got here's our
look at that guy.
Look at that guy. We'll take one more. Breathe it in.
He looks so good.
That's beautiful.
Breathe it in.
Even with the Australian colors, I love it. That's brilliant.
All right. So we're going to go now to wave 3 of the vintage line, which I think starts off, to me, the strongest, is with Skeletor and He-Man in their battle armor modes. So for me, this was my He-Man and Skeletor.
Same.
Yeah, I was too young to get a harness version of the He-Man and Skeletor when they came out, and we'll kind of do these guys as a single review because we have a Skeletor already in He-Man. So this is the first kind of redo of them. Phil, what's your memories of the battle armor He-Man and Skeletor, and what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think they're great figures. I definitely remember getting them. I just love the action feature. Obviously, like were they dinky cars? The same
the Hot Wheels
mechanism.
The Hot Wheels how cool ones. Were those? Yeah. I loved those things. The battle damage. Oh, they were so good.
Yeah, brilliant. And I had a younger brother, and battle armor sort of solved an issue for us because we were both big Skeletor fans. So with the OG, because I was the older brother, I got the original Skeletor. So my brother had to get He-Man. But when these guys came out, then it was his turn to get Skeletor. So he got the Battle Armor Skeletor, and I got the Battle Armor He-Man. So
that's cool.
they kept us both happy. And I think, as I said in the last episode, these having two, the Battle Armor and the original, were enough for us. We didn't, as a 6 or 7 year old, we didn't need any other reinventions of He-Man or Skeletor. So yeah, these guys were brilliant. I definitely remember having both growing up.
Very good. Very good. Wes, you said this was your He-Man and Skeletor.
In the vintage line, this was the first He-Man action figure that I ever owned. So I have a strong emotional connection to this one. And I think after that, I only owned. No, that's true. I think I did have a Thunder Punch, and I did have a
Flying
the other one flying. I did have a Flying Fist, but I mean, I would continuously go back to the Battle Armor, and I mean, I could sit there and just punch his chest for hours. I mean, it just something so simplistic.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I didn't know until I was an adult that it was a reuse of the Hot Wheels feature. So to me, it was the other way around. The Hot Wheels had copied Masters of the Universe. So
I also think that as a kid, if we're being honest, I was like, this car has a crack up feature.
Yeah.
This He-Man has a crack up feature.
Yeah.
They were never connected. It was never like it's the same company. It's like,
Hot Wheels are Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Well, if you own the patent, you're going to use it.
Of course you would.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I would say it was better with He-Man. Like, it was a better use of it in my mind.
I was always disappointed that we never got to see this version of He-Man in animation.
I thought that when they did the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special, which was very much a commercial for, like, look at all the toys we have.
Yep.
That would have been a great time to.
Of course, it would have been. Yeah.
Right? You already got the animation for He-Man, and you're not going to draw a whole new one now.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
but 10-year-old me doesn't know that.
Yeah, but 10-year-old you already bought the toy, so they didn't have to sell it, right?
My mom bought it for me.
Yeah, and again, they didn't need to sell these. Like, these made sense. And the reason I love this version of He-Man is that he's the same color scheme as the OG He-Man. So even though he wasn't the same as I saw on television, he was pretty close. Like he was closer than Thunder Punch. He was closer than Flying Fists. Laser Light He-Man is some other thing. But yeah, this guy to me was as valid, and same as Skeletor, as valid as the OGs.
I want to raise a point with this action figure, and this talks to sort of modern sensibilities with the new Kevin Smith show, and sort of the doing away with the Iron Cross on the battle harness and using the stylized H. Hey guys, it's right here. It's right out of the vintage line. So quit your belly aching.
Right.
Interesting.
Actually, I'll make a point while we're talking about childhood and versus adult sensibilities. That we had this He-Man. We had all the He-Mans as far as I can remember, except until Thunder Punch He-Man. Basically, we had all the He-Mans that were coming out, but we didn't care that the arm braces weren't colored in.
Nope.
Like, it didn't even factor into
Never
it.
even thought about it.
Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was complaining about it. If you really wanted to, you could put a Sharpie to it, and it was like, look what I did. I've Sharpied this, but we didn't have to. We didn't care too much. No. But now we, as adult collectors, we're very vocal. We're very too vocal, really, as a bunch of giant man babies, me included, saying things like, it needs more. It needs more articulation. It needs more color. It needs to look more like my version of He-Man. But yeah, it's just looking back at this and looking at the simplistic style. I don't know, obviously, from their point of view, it's a cost cutting. But yeah, I didn't care.
No, and I think we maybe remember things different than happened because we want to look like we were smarter as children. You hear guys saying, "I wish He-Man had knees and elbows." Like, no, you didn't. I guarantee no kid sat in the playground like, "I wish Lion-O had articulated elbows." No, you didn't. You just loved that you had Lion-O. Like that's all and be all of it, right? And you're just happy you had them. Like when these to us were so precious as a kid, and they were way more plentiful than they are now, because now you get one, you know, as a collector, like, okay, I got this one. What's the next one I need to get? But I remember getting my Battle Armor He-Man. We picked my grandparents up at the airport, and we went to Zeller's, and I was able to get one toy. And they had a bin, like a sale bin of He-Man at the beginning, right when you walked into the store. And I remember just like my mom was like, okay, you could pick one, and just like the Sophie's choice of like which Motu figure, right? And then when I found He-Man, I was like, this is it. There's no other. This is what it's going to be. And like you say, Wes, you got other ones, but this, your first one was always your.
That's the one I went back to every time. Every time. That articulation thing, though, just thinking about that now and looking at it sort of as it is here on the screen, that can you call it semi-posed with the, you know, where they're not straight armed and they're not straight legged, but they're not at a full sit.
Right.
Is a nice happy medium where if I put one of He-Man's arms forward and the other one backward, that's a pretty good approximation of running or other movement.
Yeah.
I think it's a clever way to get that across, that there is some fluidity there in something that is, you know, ostensibly rigid.
Yeah, I think too that Mattel really wanted to be not Star Wars, right? And so every decision Star Wars made, they made the opposite.
Let's not do that.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
So those are our first reissues of our main characters.
Coming out the gate hot with those two.
I mean, I would give both a 10 out of 10.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't do more figures with their battle armor. Actually, like, imagine like a battle armor Trapjaw or, you know, battle armor Merman or something. I think
maybe Trapjaw would have been made.
Yeah.
He was halfway there already.
More expensive to pull. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Battle armor versions of characters are my favorite customs to make. So I got battle armor Hordak here.
Right. Yeah, he's awesome.
And then battle armor Wonder Bread He-Man.
Oh, he's awesome too.
Right?
Yeah, you don't need a vintage one. You've got the best one in your hand right there.
Right? I think this was such a, like you say, Phil, they had a hero chest and they had a villain chest.
Yeah.
Already made up. Just put the other parts on there. You could have done wave 3 could have been battle armor versions of the entire first wave.
Yep.
And we would have been okay.
Oh yeah. I will say
so
this
down for that. Hell yeah.
For this He-Man, I will say that I'm glad that both He-Man and Skeletor got this, because it takes away that myth that He-Man is all powerful and can't be hurt.
Yeah.
And that's it's just not the case. He's strong. You know, when you look at the comics, not quite, you know, animation strong. That's pretty damn strong. But this shows that he's going up against a worthy foe in Skeletor. And Skeletor is going against a worthy foe in He-Man in that they both, if they weren't wearing that armor, those deep cuts would do damage, would do actual damage, not just bounce off his skin and him laugh like, you can't get me, Skeletor.
Yeah. So
that's not very good.
Space Commander's comment: Ram Man with a dented head. Brilliant.
Yes. That's such a great idea. Space Commander, how are you, buddy?
Look at this.
That's so great. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, battle armor tongue lasher. They could have done it with all the snake men as well.
Yeah.
I think they could have done a cool thing with battle armor King Hiss, and you get to see just more snake underneath.
Oh, that would be cool.
Exploding snake.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. All right, so moving on. So we have our two key players, and then we get to new creations where it wasn't how are we going to release these existing characters. It was like, what can we sell to kids, and how awesome can it be? And so we get this lineup in Wave 3. We get a Prince Adam, which was a direct. It was
a lift right out of the animation.
This figure cost $0 to make because it was just all the paint. They put a felt vest in there. But did you guys feel a need for Prince Adam when you were kids?
No.
I didn't get a Prince Adam figure in my collection until I was almost out. And the only reason I got one is because I inherited a childhood friend's collection as he was getting out of the line. and so it was in a box with a bunch of other figures. Otherwise, I never would have had it. So
Yeah,
and it was unnecessary to me as well.
Being named Adam, I definitely got one of these real quick.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
From a loving aunt who was like, "You must love this even more than He-Man," and I was like, "The weak guy who runs and hides and then turns into He-Man." But there was this figure I think is great. I don't know if we needed him, but I think that like he's a cool that he exists. But I would say this is maybe the weak part of the wave. I think this is the part of the wave where you're like, yeah, I can see what they did and it's important to have. I don't know if kids were yearning for it. But I would give it like a 5. I would give it a 5. It's nothing new.
That is probably the second best use of the He-Man body as a repaint. First being Faker, obviously.
Yeah. No, it's great. But moving on, we get this guy right there.
My favorite.
Yeah, that's a favorite of
Phil's
mine too.
boy.
Yeah. So Phil, take it away.
That's my boy.
Walk us through why Webster's so awesome.
I love his colors. His sort of deep dark blue color really pops, I reckon. And the action feature, the grappling hook with the pulley, it was just so different from the other figures. So it was the whole package. It was the look of the figure, it was the action feature, and just his ghoulish looking face as well. I just instantly fell in love with Webster. And he was my favorite figure all the way through when I had Motu as a kid. So he's just a perfect figure, I reckon.
I think we all remember Filmation being this perfect show. I think the thing it did the worst was take excellent designs for menacing villains and make them into goofballs.
Yeah. There's no other way to say that. Yes.
Correct.
When you look at this guy and you see the fangs and he came with like a machine gun, right? Like this laser blaster gun. Like he to me was he looked as tough as Skeletor. Like he was as much of a threat, right?
He's definitely scarier than Skeletor.
I look back on this figure now and I think of the iterations of this figure over the other toy lines and how much this figure skirts the horror genre, and for that reason I think he's a fantastic villain.
So I give this guy like top marks, like top marks for a second tier villain. Is he even scarier for you, Zazel, because all the spiders in Australia will kill you?
Well, when you've gone to an outside dunny, put your butt down and feel a redback spider crawling on your nether regions, you sort of learn to just accept that they're a way. So we're like a kindred spirit, Webster, and I feel like he knows me deeply and intimately.
Did you guys see that the female golfer in Australia? And it was about 4 or 5 years ago. She was like gonna putt, and then you saw her like bend over, and she got bit by a spider. And I think it was a redback or a recluse of some sort. And then a guy came and like cut it and like sucked poison out, and then she finished the golf game.
What?
God.
Well, I will say I don't think there's been a death by spider in decades, so I think you're pretty safe, I reckon, as far as spiders are concerned.
Okay. Well,
like I wouldn't go around touching them on purpose. Like, don't handle them.
Don't go into trouble.
I think Webster, while a perfect figure, I do like that later iterations like Classics gave him extra arms just to really arachnify the arachnid man. But, it's not something that was necessarily needed in the original figure, but I'm glad that a version of that exists elsewhere.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
What about you, Phil? Do you reckon it needs more legs or arms, or are you happy with the way it is?
Well, yeah, that's the point. Actually, when I was a kid, I made no connection whatsoever that Webster was a spiderish character. I thought it was just a ghoul. I had no connection at all with it being a spider character. So I like obviously the OG version the best. The other versions look pretty neat, but yeah, this is definitely the one for me. And I'm really happy because over the weekend I managed to get a complete I went to my favorite store in Tokyo. I managed to find a complete vintage web store finally. So that's taken me ages to finally get my hands on. So it was a good weekend.
If I'm being honest, my web store's armor is broken. So like it's held on posthumously. It's both pieces are there, but it's cracked. So I will be looking for new armor at some point in time. But moving on here from web store, the hits just keep coming with Whiplash.
Nice.
Right now, this was a figure that as a kid blew my mind that he had this rubber tail attached to him. I just thought that was great. He had the tail whipping action. I think this is the first time that the power punch action made the most sense because he could use it as like a tail whip.
His tail, yeah.
Right, but what are your guys' thoughts on Whiplash?
For my birthday,
another brilliant figure. Yeah,
I got 2 Whiplashes for my birthday.
Oh,
what?
Yeah, my mum picked me up one for just because she knew I liked He-Man, and then I had a birthday party, and one of Mum's friends came and brought me a second Whiplash, and I was happy to have 2 Whiplash. I will say, just off the bat, I was happy to have 2 of them. I love this figure so much that when I got a second one, I was like, yes, another Whiplash. And the lady, I can't remember the lady's name. She's gone to history now. But if you're watching, thanks for the second Whiplash. But she was so upset that I'd gotten the second figure that she actually took me to the store to swap it over for another He-Man figure that I didn't have. From memory, I can't remember what we swapped it out for. I may have a false memory and think that we swapped it out for one of the movie figures, but I can't. They couldn't be out at the same time, surely.
I don't think so. Movie figures were 87. They were really near the end.
Yeah. Well, that's must have been a different day. But yeah, I definitely had 2 at one point. But and I in no way did I make this lady feel obligated to swap it out. I think the mistake I made was saying that, yay, I have another one. I should have just said, yay, Whiplash.
Yay, Whiplash. That should be our shirt for this week. Yay, Whiplash.
Yay, Whiplash. Because I could have had 2 Whiplashes whipping at each other.
Well, so
possibilities.
My rule of army building is the rule of 2. I think if you guys are different, that's fine. But for me,
you haven't seen my Sergeant Slaughter collection. There is definitely more than 2.
Right, but any army builder, I'm like, if I have 2, that's good. So I have 2 Horde Troopers. I have 2 Iron Grenadiers. It gives the illusion that they're a troop without having a shuffle of things. But imagine like an army, like if Whiplash was a generic soldier, like a generic reptilian soldier. Come on, I get behind that.
And I think that's the only way I can get behind him, to be honest. I have no connection to this character, and I'm staring at him like I'm trying to find the things in him that I like, and it's
just the gimmick, dude. It's just the gimmick. The
ability
to whip He-Man.
I guess. I will say this, and this actually applies to Web Store as well. I actually like the castle weapons showing up in different colors because I do remember if a character came with one of the castle weapons and it was in a better color than the taupey gray brown. Yeah, I put that on the rack. It went on the rack. Yeah, I just thought it looked better. And I will say that Whiplash's bright orange spear is an improvement to the Grayskull one.
Yeah. So, and there's another thing. My Whiplash has a Grayskull spear. Doesn't have his orange spear yet. I haven't found one. But we'll get there. But the hits just keep coming. I also want to say the Whiplash big bottom jaw always remind me of like Herman Munster.
And that weird nose tooth.
Yeah. So interesting sculpts, building great characters, but the hits keep coming because next up we have this little guy right here.
Another Filmation character. I had Orko, loved Orko. I hunted for Orko, and I know Orko didn't have a lot of fans, or doesn't now. Maybe retroactively doesn't now, because adults want to seem cool. It's like, I always hated Orko. I always hated Snarf. No, you didn't. Orko was great, and we loved him.
Right.
But the magic spells. I remember trying to do that little flip trick with them in front of my dad to impress him with my magic. And if it didn't work, it's on brand because it's Orko. It doesn't matter if it worked.
That's trapped.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. So Orko, though, we just talked about this. Adam, you were talking about the when is your collection complete, and we talked about Rotar and Twistoid.
Yep.
And I point to the Orko as, they tried it once. It was a big risk. Then they thought it was redeeming and tried it again.
Yeah. I think Orko got a pass. Like, he wasn't the He-Man form factor. He had a fun gimmick. But I think Azazel nailed it in the head. We loved him so much because the TV show told us to, that he got a pass.
I'll give you that one.
The problem is how many of those little discs did he come with? Because they're the hardest things to obviously get to complete.
I want to say 4.
4 are they?
I don't remember, to be honest.
No, between his hat, his ripcord, and his discs, I think he's one of the hardest guys to get complete and done.
Now, let me ask this, and this is, again, maybe this is sort of that, maybe my memory is not what it once was. Is the hat supposed to be removable, or is it just one of those things that just commonly the glue came undone and it fell off?
I took mine off instantly that I could brag that I could find out who
what he looked
was under the hat. Let's look at the face. Pull the. I mean, it's obviously it's a kid's mindset.
Sure.
You take the hat off, and you're like, oh yeah, it's.
Yeah, I don't have the hat. He looks a little bit unfortunate without the hat.
Was the hat actually meant to be? It was meant to be removable, was it? Or because I always thought it was glued right on.
Phil, I'll send you a printed hat, buddy. I printed a hat for mine, so we'll get you some kind of.
I'll add it to my order list. Thanks, buddy.
There you go. So, but no, Orko, I think, is a love or hate. No one is in the middle road about Orko.
Yeah, but I never saw any hate for Orko as a kid, though. I never saw it.
Yeah.
No,
I wasn't a big fan of Orko, but that was mainly due to the fact that my brother loved Orko. So my brother and I were sort of butted heads over different
you had a
characters.
so the fact that thing with Orko,
yes, probably the same with your bro. Yeah, so the fact that my younger brother loved Orko, I was like, nah, he's a bit naff. But I like him now. I'd like him more with the hat, but yeah.
the hat's the clincher. All right, so moving on, Mechneck. So here is, for me, this is a take it or leave it kind of guy.
People love Mechneck, but I just never really gravitated towards him.
Yeah, not my thing.
I love him more now than I did as a kid, to be honest. I like his gimmick, and I really like the way that they made use of it in the animation. That the action figure has its limitations just because of how much plastic you can fit in there. But the idea that he could snake his head, he is the perfect scout.
Yeah.
And that gimmick just lends itself so well. Plus, I love that armor.
Human Periscope sounds like a completely different kind of movie, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think
he's got the Elton John style glasses going on, hasn't he? With the
so true.
For me, it was the head sculpt. I think the colors pop. I think the piano was fun. His head, his weird glasses and hat always to me were like, what is this guy about? What's going on here? So I
like his reflective shades, but I don't know. I can do without.
Yeah, my buddy Brandon got me him for my birthday one year, and so he was in the collection, but he was often my damsel in distress, if you will. He would run in and get captured a lot. He was a lot of time he spent under duress from Skeletor and his
He-Man
guy.
shows up and Mechanic says, "Aren't you a little short for a He-Man?"
That would have been my favorite thing anybody's ever said here.
Put that on a shirt.
Aren't you a little short?
Aren't you a little short for a He-Man? Mechanic it's got to be Mechanic lying on the slab like Leia. Right?
Yeah. his head's twisted to face the other way, though.
He just looks away in shame.
That's funny.
So there's that, and then we get maybe my favorite non-Skeletor villain, which is Cobra Khan.
Ooh, Cobra Khan.
Cobra Khan. So
the
this
Snake
guy,
Man before the Snake Men.
Snake Man before the Snake Man. His water spraying gimmick was flawless, and I'm hard pressed to find one that doesn't still work today.
when the store was up and running, I think I went through 4 or 5 of these, and of course stuff comes in. I would clean it up and see what's wrong with it. Every one of them worked. Every one. And no rust on the spring mechanism either, which blew my mind away.
Yeah. And he had that the Zodak gun was a reuse.
Yeah.
Right.
But
some characters with guns just don't seem to make sense, though. Like a Cobra Khan with a gun, it just doesn't. He doesn't seem like the kind of character that would get one. Mechanic more so. Like, he didn't even come with a gun. He came with that telescope club thing.
Corn on the cob.
Yeah. And this guy his mechanism probably didn't need a gun, but
Chaka Khan.
I like that you did the head swap, Adam, with the Dragon Blast.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Because it's the same gimmick.
We had a swimming pool growing up, so this figure spent many, many summer days outside with me.
Yes, absolutely. I think he's not in the wave we're going to talk about today in Origins, but I think that this was one of the heartbreaks of Origins when they just gave him that like projectile snap-in piece and he didn't actually squirt water.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, boys, just give us a little water squirt.
Every version of this figure since the original, none of them have had a squirty feature. So,
yeah,
mind you, every version after this one did have the hooded head, which I do like that.
Yeah, the animation style head.
Yeah.
But as far as getting a second tier, not Skeletor villain, I think that you would be hard pressed to go better than Cobra Khan. He was also the first one to had like a different body construction because of the water gimmick.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. I always thought his belt and like torso and waist looked awesome compared to the other ones. It was something different.
It's funny that you consider Cobra Khan to be a top tier villain because I wouldn't have even put him in the top 5.
Really?
Yeah. Like I've got no issue with Cobra Khan. I think it's a great action figure. It just never occurs to me that he would be in the top 5 villains. He's definitely above Spike-Or.
I think
definitely.
I think Twistoid is above Spike-Or in your mind.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, those orbs more so.
Master Versatile Toy Hunter is heading out, so we want to say have a great one. We'll
thanks for hanging out.
See you, buddy.
See ya, Eldor. I'll get in touch. I want to have you on one of these shows. Love
maybe
your
it's
stuff.
because I'm definitely afraid of snakes was why I thought he was such a great villain.
Maybe.
I think the other snake men just look more menacing than Cobra Khan, like tongue lasher.
Yeah. But we didn't have them yet.
Yeah.
When this guy was out, I just
true.
remember when the Snake Men came out being like, what? Like this was a whole different thing.
This whole wave has been made for Australia, though. The snakes, the spiders. Gaz is in the house.
Oh, Gaz is here.
Hey, Gaz.
Morning, Gaz.
Now, moving on from Cobra Khan, we've got Jitsu, and we all know what that means. I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know what that? I'm going to do these guys as a pair, but Jitsu and Fisto.
Best line in the new series ever.
Best line in the new series. I think these guys are in a world of their own. So Fisto is my favorite non-He-Man Masters of the Universe figure. As a kid, he was like my go-to guy. We talk often about when you go to somebody else's house, they have home He-Man advantage. So they were He-Man, and you had the rest of the guys. And so Fisto became very much, my go-to. And the fact that he had a counterpart, we haven't seen this in the rest of the Vintage Motu line. And anytime they do it now, it's a little bit cheesy. So there's like Ninjor and Slamurai, which was just the white. Yeah. I'm like that.
But what about Mossman and Stinkle? They were a good foil for each other.
They were, but they weren't a direct one-to-one. Whereas Jitsu and Fisto, they had their hands come from the same factory, man. Like they were both, like they were guys that you. It was never written that they were arch enemies. You just knew they were as kids.
Yeah. Right.
And I've said it before. Masters of the Universe is a sword-driven line, and these are some of the only swordsmen we got. Were these?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
Right. I think these were, other than He-Man, the first guys that come with swords.
He-Man and Skeletor, and then these guys. Oh, Triclops. Yeah, Triclops
did too. So to me, I got these guys for Christmas together, and I was like,
Yep.
oh, the battles they're gonna have. It was.
Oh yeah.
So
It
we
was-
had the horses. So the only photo I've really got left of classic He-Man was we're playing Castle Grayskull, and we've got Jitsu and Fisto because I just latched onto those characters when they came out, and we've got the horses as well in the photo. So I wonder if we got those in the 2-pack, like with Stridor and Fisto.
Maybe.
And,
Oh yeah, maybe.
well, we definitely had them. They're on display. Care Bears are also there, enjoying some of the Eternian fun.
The spoils of war.
Yeah.
So I would often steer clear of the main characters. The middle child, right? Middle child never gets first pick, right? So I never, while I had my own He-Man, I never got first choice. I was never Peter Venkman. I was, Egon or Winston. Great characters in their own right, but Peter Venkman's the guy, right? And so I very quickly, with that mentality, gravitated towards secondary characters. And so, like you, Adam, I gravitated towards Fisto because he wasn't He-Man, but he was, in my mind, arguably much cooler than He-Man. This guy had a story. He had his own, because like He-Man and Battle Cat, at least in my collection, he had a horse. He had his own robotic horse. He had his own arch enemy, and he could have, in all seriousness, he could have had his own toy line and been the lead character in that line, and I reckon it would have done just as well.
Yep. I distinctly remember having many times in battle his hand being stolen, the fist being stolen. And then it was matter like if I could just get my fist back. And so the whole point, He-Man and the boys are trying to get him his fist back so Fisto can take everybody out. It was kind of like, instead of trying to get He-Man's sword back, it was like, let's get Fisto his fist, then we'll go. And so, but yeah, Fisto and Jitsu were fantastic. Oh, we're getting a little preview there.
Their hands were detachable, were they? Like I don't have them at the moment. You could actually take off those.
You can actually take off
hands?
those hands. You can switch them if you want.
Switch them up.
Yeah. The three fists that would fit in there were Fisto, Jitsu's, and Rolf from Kendar are the ones that, that fit into that.
An essential figure in any any collector.
Those are the three that work there.
Definitely fit. Yeah.
Well, never had the Jitsu. I did have the Fisto. Strangely enough, in my play pattern, Fisto was a villain because I felt like he was the only guy that could physically blow for blow stand up to He-Man. So they would do you see it all the time, like the Superman when the punching of the fist.
Oh yeah.
I'd have that with Fisto and He-Man, and they would just be this standoff, right?
Yeah, no. So I was almost going to kick you out of the stream for calling Fisto a villain there, but your logic of he's only got to go blow for blow with He-Man, like that makes sense. That's kind of right. And in a world where we had a Batman v Superman movie, I can get behind Fisto and He-Man fighting and then getting on the same page.
I was more of a Jitsu man. Again, my brother was Fisto. I was Jitsu. I was always evil warriors over the heroic warriors every single time.
This is why you live in Japan now, because you gravitate towards the martial arts characters.
That's right. Any Asian looking figures. Yeah,
that's right.
You're like, I'm going to live there one day. Just give everyone high fives, but really you're just jujitsuing them.
That's right. He wears one golden glove to work.
I've got the same chest plate too. You should see me in the morning.
That's right.
And how hard is it to turn the key in the door with that thing?
Just chop the door down, man.
Yeah.
No keys required.
And then rounding out the end of the line, we've got Clawful here as an evil warrior, and to me, anybody who had like the pinchy hands was a bit hard to get behind because they couldn't hold stuff very well.
They put that loop on his.
They put the loop on.
It kind of works, but
yeah. And we'll go because the last two. So it's Clawful and it's Buzz Off.
Oh yeah.
And they kind of have the same clippy hands and the same loopy things.
Yeah.
I liked Clawful's clamp action. I thought that was great. But in a wave of Jitsu, Web Store, and Whiplash, Clawful was maybe bottom of the rung for villains for me.
Sure. I can see that. It's not a bad character. I remember thinking that I wish he'd had 2 giant claws instead of just the one little one.
Yeah.
But I was more of a Buzz-Off boy. Buzz-Off was a prime real estate because finally I had a flying character because I didn't have Stratos.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was my boy in the sky. Clawful was just another baddie.
Yeah.
Nothing really too special in my opinion.
Any thoughts on Clawful, Phil?
Again, another figure that I have vivid memories getting. Even I still remember getting it in the package and ripping the package open, and just the red, just those primary colors on these figures, it just sort of blew you away, as a 5 or 6 year old.
Absolutely.
Just brilliant. I loved Clawful. He was one of my favorites.
Did he have an actual weapon to hold, or he just had the claw hand?
No, he had a green
He had
club,
one of those mace.
Yeah, like a mace or something.
but it had an extra loop on it, so you could put it on his claw hand, like Buzz-Off's.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
The same one that Buzz-Off had.
yeah.
And I would say, like, sorry, Wes, any thoughts on Clawful?
Clawful's an interesting character. I mean, like, as a crustacean, he's pretty accurate. He's got the killing claw and the feeder claw, but the goofy head sculpt was hard for me to take serious. And no surprise that they really hammed it. They really hammed him in the animation, which just lowered any cool factor that he had. Just kind of got like watered right down.
I will say that Wave 3 here, we're seeing the Filmation influence more than ever with Orko and with Adam. And so we get Webster, who's got this menacing head sculpt, and then we go to Clawful, and it's kind of this goofy thing. So I thought maybe at this point they were kind of making this to look a little more like a cartoon. I don't know. I have no facts for that, but that's maybe where my mind went.
At the same time, though, like, again, it's my own bias, because I mean, I can't help but sit here and look at this thing as a 40 something, when it's hard to remember what it was like to be 10 years old and go, oh, this is just a cool action figure. But it is a cool action figure, and I mean, spring-loaded mechanism on anything is just automatically extra play value.
Absolutely. And then
I guess also it's the third best looking giant hand after Jitsu and Fisto. Yeah, so he's got that also. Maybe if it was a wave before, I'd be more impressed with the big hand. But
I'll tell you this: the best looking Clawful out there is the NECA Staction.
Yes,
the Staction figures are incredible.
That thing looks like absolutely like terrorizing.
Yeah, I love the Clamp Champ Staction figure.
Yeah,
it's pretty special.
I haven't seen that one. I don't think so.
I'll send you a photo. I've got one. It's not handy, but
there you go. It's clampy. Moving on, though, to finish out the line, the wave here is Buzz-Off, and as much as I was like indifferent to Clawful, Buzz-Off I was all in on. He had the same pinchy hands, but like you say, Zazel, I think the idea of having a flying character, having a bee character, in my play, he was poisonous. Like he had a sting to him.
Oh, nice.
And so he would get guys. I didn't understand at the time as a kid the extra bee helmet where he had a bee face.
I was just going to say, mask on or off, because I never bothered with it because it didn't quite work.
Gone. Get it out.
I had
of
a
here.
hard time.
I think I lost it immediately. Yeah.
My Origins version is just holding it like on his side, just holding it like he's just taking it off because it just doesn't look right with it on.
But you know that it was supposed to be on a human head, right?
Nope, I did not know that.
No, that's a new one for me too.
Buzz-Off was designed to be a human.
To be
bee armor, so they designed the bee helmet to go on like a He-Man head.
Interesting.
I'll have to test it. I'll test
Yeah,
it. See how it
seriously.
goes.
Stick
And
it on a
then-
He-Man head. Does it stay?
They were like, well, we'll make him a bee, and then we're like, we have this mask already.
All right, let
Put
me
it in
get
the
my
package anyway.
let me get my He-Man and my buzz off. We'll see how he looks. Hang on a minute.
Well, he's going for it. So that's why he has a bee head and a bee helmet, which is a little superfluous at the time, but
I'll be back.
So it doesn't fit on properly then.
well, so it does fit on. They altered it to fit on, but originally
Right.
there are prototype pictures up there where it's a He-Man style head on a Buzz-Off buddy, and he's got
Right.
Did they not? There's two. Is there not two depressions in the helmet for his
antenna.
his antenna? Yeah.
So they did retool a little bit, but the original design was, and I think someone's like, well, I designed the mask, we got to use it.
I'm gonna throw in. I'm a mask on kind of guy. I like the
Right.
idea of that extra armored piece.
Very good.
I always thought that maybe there was some extra, maybe special vision properties in the bug eyes.
Let me try and. It doesn't quite stay on there, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, that's totally cool. There, I mean, if that doesn't have,
Hey man, can you see anything, buddy?
B-Man,
I'm right
B-Man.
here.
Phil,
Hey, I'm over
Phil?
here.
I never knew I needed a Masters of the Universe fly crossover.
yeah. No, this is
Help
happening.
Elton John again.
Goodbye, yellow brick road.
Fantastic.
Outstanding.
So there you go.
The Brundlebee.
The Brundlebee. Now I just want to talk about the Fly and how great that movie was.
The black and white version.
Yeah.
That's a classic. But if I just put it on the top of his head like Buzz Off, it doesn't cover his eyes, and it doesn't really cover Buzz Off's eyes either.
No.
No,
Oh, that's a
Phil!
little bit. That's oh,
That's
g'day,
me,
mate.
Phil. There you are.
G'day, mate.
I feel like
You
I've
have
just
the power.
ruined Zazel's week. He's just going to be playing with He-Man and the Buzz-Off mask.
Yeah. Who else have I got that I can put this on?
Yeah, put it on Sarge. How does Sarge look with it on?
It's a bit. I don't think
Would
it's
you
got the
do that?
cranium for it.
I don't know if he's at the right skull density for it. But anyway, so there he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks like one of those like early
Right.
2000s yellow boom boxes.
You know what it looks like? Those giant novelty glasses.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He looks
walking
like
around
he's ready to go to
Wonderland.
Disneyland.
Their prescription.
So that was wave 3. That's a lot of figures for
Yeah.
a single
Yeah,
wave.
another big one. Yeah.
No real stinkers either. Like everyone
No.
has merit. Every one
No
of those
stinkers.
figures have merit. And some are better than others, but I wouldn't have been upset with any of them.
No, and I say like as a standalone wave, there's lots of heroes, lots of villains, and it's good stuff. And you get a He-Man and Skeletor, which are I think as valid as the original version. Is what I would say. Now,
Funny that we're ending on the
Yeah, I agree.
ending on the figure that was considered to be
Kill the
part of
line.
the decline of the vintage line,
yeah.
and yet we all agree that we like him.
Well, I think we like him because we
It's
already
top tier
had
for
He-Man
me.
and Skeletor. But when stores were like, "Hey, we have new kids that don't have He-Man and Skeletor yet," they're like, "Well, here's a bunch of
There's
Buzz-Offs."
a buzz off or 40.
Yeah.
Right? That was it. So moving on now to the Origins Wave 3 line. Because Origins waves only had 4 figures in them, I've also included, which came out at the same time as Wave 3, the Battle Armor He-Man and Skeletor Origins
I was
figures.
hoping you would.
Because like, they came at the same time, and to me, and I'm a vintage guy, and that's where I stand. It's where the hope of Origins died for me, and I'll explain that. So there's Skelly, and there's He-Man. So we'll stick.
Wow,
with
that is really striking.
Great art on the box, though. I'll give him that.
Great art on the box. But what happened here was they took, I would say, a iconic figure, and the first couple waves of Origins was just like, we're going to give you like 1-to-1 reproductions of your childhood figures, and we want you to play with your kids with them. That's what we want to do. And it was all marketed to be like, dads and kids playing and moms and kids playing and doing that. And so when you get this figure, he still has this kind of derpy face, which I'm okay if that's what the Origins He-Man head looks like. I'm in for
That's the face I make when I see a spike or.
There you go.
That's the exact face.
But the miss for me is that it doesn't. The chest piece is small and stupid. It doesn't.
Interesting. Yeah.
It doesn't look like the vintage figure. It looks like something's wrong. It's like an uncanny valley. Your eye is drawn to what's different and not right. And so there was that. And also, when Battle Armor He-Man came out when we were a kid, he was just another figure. But they've given him a secondary head, a secondary hand, and this nonsense here, which is supposed to be him powering up and changing, does not work.
Yeah. Is that's supposed to go over the sword?
That goes on the sword.
Oh,
and it's supposed to be like him powering up. Oh, Zazel's going to the bathroom.
Okay.
And so this, to me, we'll wait till Zazel comes back and he can show you the power of Grayskull.
Right.
I have the power. I'm not going to go and get the Battle Armor He-Man. I've actually thrown it in a drawer. I looked at it. And I played with the mechanism for a little bit, and I was like, nah, and threw it away.
Right.
I was like, no.
Does it work the same way as the vintage figure?
Well, I mean, in principle, yeah, but it's just sad.
Okay. It is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing that. That's a hard sell for me.
Yeah. So it's a hard sell. So, and then you get the alternate head. And so as soon as you get into alternate hands and heads, this is clearly an adult collecting toy.
You know what? I'll go get it. I'll stop being a baby and I'll go get the thing.
and to me, that is the opposite of what Origins was supposed to be.
Right.
And that's just my opinion. So for me, this one, everything I loved about my vintage Battle Armor He-Man, this I feel did not bring to the table.
So I became aware. Now I don't collect Origins. I have never collected Origins, and I'm not about to start.
No, now's the time to jump in.
Yeah. I became aware late in 2022. This is a shameless plug for my own channel. If you go over to my channel, you'll see I did a couple of toy videos. One of them is every He-Man ever.
Oh,
and
nice.
It is a chronological clip show of every action figure from the vintage line all the way up to Mondo. There's a vac metalized version of this figure that I think is actually better looking than this one.
Yeah.
It's got blood splatter on it though, right?
Yeah. Have blood on them.
Yeah. I just love the vac metalized look. I think it is it just adds something to the figure. Now I've never handled this figure. I can't comment on what it's like in hand, but just purely based on appearance.
If you will indulge me, will you bring us a little bit closer? And I'm going to demonstrate the use of battle armor.
1 second here. We're gonna.
I'll strike it.
Woo!
We'll see how. Well, you just that's fine.
Hold on.
Don't make me too big. I'm trying to lose weight.
Aren't we all?
So, as we know, the original one, you strike it, it flips. You strike it again, it flips, and it was a pretty easy mechanism to use. You hit it, it turns. Now, let's see how many. Hopefully, with one strike. Oh God, I gotta have. Don't miss your mark. All right, here we go.
Oh wow!
4, 5, 6,
wow!
7, 8, 9.
Yep, there's one.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh man!
All right, and then we'll go again.
There you go.
2. So
You
you really have to hit it in the sweet spot. Now there wasn't really a sweet spot in the original one. You just hit it and it spun.
It went, yeah.
But this one, you kind of gotta get it on the turning mechanism part to get it right in the corner there.
And it's a
But
smaller
it's already
size.
Small, isn't it? Tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
And that I think for the hands. No, they don't. The hands don't even come out because I thought you could switch that. You can switch the arms in the regular He-Man, and I thought they made the mechanism smaller. Well, that's an interesting way to put it.
Hold on.
Here we
I'm
go.
dizzy. So, Adam, I believe you were touching on this before, but I went to go look for my toy. But what we're looking at here is a culmination of adult toy collectors complaining that their He-Man isn't He-Man enough.
Yep.
They're complaining that they don't have enough hands or accessories. So now what would have technically should have only been a regular wave He-Man is now a deluxe figure. And the heads changed because we're all sad that we're not the same toys. And so this is a toy for dad only. This is not a toy for his kids to enjoy. This is looking at it and a father saying to his kid, "This is what he should have looked like."
Right.
Forget all the other He-Mans that we had. And so now I've got a deluxe Thunder Punch He-Man, and what makes him deluxe? Nothing really.
No.
Great figure though.
Yeah, and again, this is where the line stopped being about kids playing He-Man and dad doing it. I just don't think I look at this and I don't get any nostalgia for it because this little chest emblem is wrong.
As you can see, I put the other head on him too, because I was also that man baby saying, "No, that's not He-Man. This is He-Man."
Well, what sold this? A lot of people bought this figure, and this is where one of my, I'm not going to get in the soapbox for too long, but one of my adult collecting frustrations is all kinds of guys bought this $20 deluxe figure to get this extra head to put on their original He-Man.
Yes, correct. Oh, Pains is here. Hey, Pains. Did we say hi to Pains yet?
We said hello to Pains.
I must have been looking for my toys. Hi, Pains.
Yeah, I brought a Pains comment up. So everything I just said about He-Man is the same for Skeletor, except Skeletor, both his heads are janky. There's no need for that. And so these to me are a miss.
And I think they still have the half swords at this point too.
Yeah,
which is fine.
I like the half swords. That's fine.
Yeah, half swords are fine, but they haven't given them a complete sword yet.
No. And so this just to me seems like we were so close to a beautiful thing, and then we whined and got what we wanted.
Is this the first time Skeletor has been come with a shield?
Yeah, this is the first time that Skeletor.
Well, they had to make him deluxe somehow because he comes with all the stuff he already had before. Right. Now we're going to give him a shield.
These Skeletor heads, both of them, look like they were made by Remco in the 80s.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to buying that. Even though I don't have Battle Armor, Skeletor, or He-Man from Vintage now, I just can't get those origins.
No,
those head sculpts are just they're
pretty rough.
No.
Actually, it's funny. The one commemorative figure I had from 2000 is the Battle Armor He-Man, because he's like my favorite.
At least that's a straight up reissue. And
it's a straight up reissue. And I look at Origins and I was like, maybe that would have been the better move. Just do a straight up reissue like they did with Ghostbusters.
Dom's in the house. Hey, Dom.
Oh, Dom's here. What a beaut. That guy's wicked.
Shower time. Enjoy. Dom.
No, don't
let us whinge about He-Man while you're showering.
Yeah,
put us on loud.
Up there, Dom. Get it good.
Lift and wipe.
Exactly. So then, moving on from these guys, which I just need to talk about, and for my own mental well-being,
exercise your demons. Get them out. Get them out.
To get into Wave 3. Now, again, the difference between the vintage release was like, what characters can we make? And the Origins was like, what characters can we release slowly? So there's always going to be a buy-in for every wave. We get these four. So we get She-Ra, the Princess of Power, who was never an action figure growing up. She was always a doll. But we got her in action figure form here. So to me, this is so different than what my sister had as a kid, and I stole so I could play with it, that it really doesn't hit any nostalgia for me, and I saw no need for this. What were your guys' thoughts on this?
This is a what if. It's like, what if She-Ra wasn't, the girls group of Mattel hadn't come along and said, no, He-Man, no, we want dolls. This is a what if. I would love to have also seen, not with this armor, but I would have liked to have seen Bo done in a standard He-Man body. As another what if, we don't need all of the She-Ra characters as much as I would love for them to add them.
Yeah.
Ruined. Yeah.
Ruined.
We done ruined it. But I think this is a great what if. I think this is arguably cooler than what was the original offering. And it's just unfortunate that they didn't lean more into the Filmation look for She-Ra, which is, I think, pretty damn perfect.
Yeah. Talking about Bo, my favorite thing about the Princess of Power line is that Bo is just a Secret Wars mold scaled up.
Yeah. Yep. True.
Yeah, they just took the Secret Wars mold and made it bigger, and that's where they got Bo from, as opposed to just making a He-Man. Like the Horde was all part of the Masters of the Universe line. Why Bo wasn't, I don't understand.
It's not because they needed their Ken doll. They needed
That's
their
so
Ken doll.
true. That is so true.
Yeah, Phil, what are your thoughts on She-Ra here?
I can get behind She-Ra. I can't say I really watched it much. I can't say I really watched it much as a kid, but yeah, Origins for me just is a gap filler. So if I'm missing things in my vintage collection, or as you say, what if scenarios, so this falls into that category. So I would, if I found it at a reasonable price, I definitely would grab it to add into the vintage collection. I think she looks good.
Oh yeah.
All right, we need to address the therapeutic moment here happening. Dom says She-Ra was my boyhood crush. Fast forward 20 years, and I got rejected by a She-Ra cosplay at Halloween. Crushing. My question for Dom is: were you dressed as Bo? And if not, it is clearly your fault.
Isn't it surprising how many people assume that She-Ra and He-Man are a thing?
Yeah,
like you hear it all the time. But not. I mean, now you got the passage of time. But even back then, it was like, oh yeah, She-Ra and He-Man are boyfriend and girlfriend. No, they're related.
So it's a geeky thing to say, like, oh, She-Man and She-Ra could have had a great kid or whatever, and then you're like, what's geekier? To like be offended that they don't know, and be like, actually, they're brother and sister. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And so Dom says he wasn't dressed as Bo, so it was his fault. And so that's lesson learned. That's
Did you at least come in and say that you had the power?
Yeah. It'd be funny if he kept quoting She-Ra and she's like, I'm Xena, you idiot.
Ironically, he was dressed as Hercules.
the young Canadian version of Hercules. Because there was young Hercules, and that was Ryan. What's his name? The guy from Peterborough.
Oh my!
The Notebook.
Yep.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
He played a young Kevin Sorbo.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. He's going places, that guy.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay.
He was going to be all right.
Moving on from She-Ra, we then go to my favorite Origins figure is Zodak. I think this is what Origin should have always been. I think this is the closest one-to-one figure that I've seen in the vintage line. The head's perfect, the body's perfect, and I loved Zodak as a kid. So this to me is Origins at its best.
Well, for me, Zodak as a character, this is where He-Man meets Star Wars. So Zodak was always a winner in my books. Again, I don't collect this line. But he looks great. He looks exactly what I would expect a Zodak to look like.
Yep. And that's what it was. So, Phil, you said that you use Origins as a gap filler. And so for me, a gap filler is, essentially I needed to look as close as they possibly can. And I think they nailed Zodak. Nailed it. Zazel, what are your thoughts?
Swiss. He doesn't know who he is. Is he good? Is he bad?
Yeah.
He's
I
still fighting himself. I have the same issues myself.
I hear you, Phil. I hear you.
I always liked that aloofness about his character, that you just never knew where he was. Because he was so above all of the toiling of mortal men.
Yeah. Now, do you guys? We all have our idiosyncrasies, and Zazel has said, your collection's your collection. I have 2 Zodaks in my collection. One has the red armor, and one has the black armor, the Wonder Bread armor.
Okay. Well, I guess the black would go really well with the dark gray, light black of his boots and jockstrap.
It looks good. So my buddy, as a kid, had the red, like the regular one. I got mine at a yard sale, and then I with the weapons pack armor, put the black armor on him. And so, and just as a side note, the weapons pack was a Wave 3 armor pack.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
Kind of fits in. So my Zodak always had the black armor. And then when we played, mine was always like the evil version of Zodak. It was like there was a good Zodak and a bad Zodak. So to me, that's always been a valid version of him. But no, I think this is exactly what a Zodak figure should be, and it's almost underwhelming because it's so good. It's just Zodak.
Yeah, for a figure that was so really just ahead of new armor.
Yeah,
I love this figure. I was fascinated by this character as a kid, and I would just stare at it. There's something about that helmet I can't really describe that.
Well, but I think the helmet came from the leftover designs from the Jack Kirby New Gods line, right?
For sure it did.
Yeah, so that's kind of what got that there, and I loved it.
Maybe that's why I like the other Zodak so much.
Yeah, like the 2000X one.
Yeah, love that guy
with a K. Zodak with a K.
Zodak with a K. Yeah, when all his glow in the glowing tattoos and stuff. That's so awesome.
It's
pretty
very cool. Yeah, the myth of Zodak, when they just put a new head on his body, I don't think anybody's thought what was coming, and they're like, we don't know if he's good or bad. We'll just put him out there.
Yeah.
So, and then we go ahead. Sorry, Zazel.
I was going to say this is probably the best example, and I can't really think of too many more until later in the line where they were leaning into the sci-fi as well as the sword and sorcery. You probably wouldn't get too much more sci-fi for a little while. Even looking at the waves we were just looking at previously, in Wave 3, there wasn't really anything too spacefaring or science fiction-y. It was more aliens and well, not aliens, but creatures and sword and sorcery. But up until the only ones that are really jumping out at me is Rio Blast as a more of a space sort of faring character. But yeah, this guy did it first and arguably
did it best. Yep. And then moving on, and this is I have a lot to say about this, is we have Merman here, and again, Merman was a Wave 1 vintage figure, right? He was, I think there's very seldomly a Motu collection out there that doesn't have a Merman in it. I think that we've all got them. This has the classic Merman head, and they also released the Lords of Power Merman with the back art accurate head, which to me doesn't look like Merman. It needs to be the skunk head version, if you will.
Yeah,
that's Merman to me. We don't. Again, I think when collectors cry out, "This is not the Merman head that I wanted as a child," I'm like, that is a fiction that you're making up.
Yeah, but Merman needs minions, and I think that second head makes for a good minion.
That's great.
Fantastic. Yeah, I like that. I need to go buy some now. Thank you for that, Zazel. Trust me.
It's not a bad figure. I like it. I like the look. He definitely, you can, if you've got a couple of them standing with Merman looks like the top dude. Because he does look like he would overpower the other ones. As an alternative, you can also have the Lords of Power Merman be a heroic version of whatever creature that Merman is. So
The
there's
idea of
opportunity.
merman having minions is blowing my mind. Where I'm going to make up custom
Minions. Yeah.
merman armor for his minions for the vintage figures, and see if just like a different
Great.
armor would make it look different enough that they become soldiers.
I think if you take
Right.
Merman and you stand him up there with the trident, and then everybody else is armed with the corncob sword, then it's mission complete, right?
Yeah.
This is happening. Now, I will say the thing I do like best about this figure, and I think this is the kind of inside thing that Origin should have done, as opposed to like how they went full, like the new Roboto, they're releasing the orange arm one because he was in the comic books, that way, like all that kind of stuff. This merman has a green belt, which was the vintage variant. There was very, very short run of the green belts, and so most mermen out there have orange belts. And so I think that's a nice little touch when they're saying, we're going to do a merman, we're going to do it like the original run, and we'll go from there. And so I think that's the kind of stuff that Origins did well.
So as a casual guy, I never would have picked up on that. So I mean, you're satisfying, two things. One, you're as a new figure. So if you're trying to get kids into it, mission complete, because it's not a deluxe figure. But it also satisfies the deep collector who will notice that small detail.
Yep, absolutely.
That's pretty cool. That's cool.
Very good. Phil's
So
any
you're saying
thoughts on merman?
You're saying that this Origins one's got the variant color on it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is smart, because I've got the vintage merman, obviously, so you're getting this Origins as a slight variation. Again, that's another gap to fill in the collection. So
right,
I'd be all for getting this version. I don't have it, but plus my vintage version, the rubber bands are pretty much just about ready to go. So my vintage version is got the Forrest Gump bowed leg. Yeah. So he's struggling to stand up. So he's definitely in need of an upgrade. So
not to plug my own stuff on my own channel, but
do it.
The best thing for me that I've designed since I've been doing my Go Figure stuff was those little plugs for the O-ring fix in the legs.
Watching the evolution of that design has also been pretty mind-blowing.
There you go. So I appreciate
you perfected it, and you've also gone from struggling to attach them to come out with a tool.
Yeah.
There's half a fork at one point.
But it was always like, I know this can be fixed and I'm going to fix it, but it was like I had to psych myself up. It's kind of like open heart surgery, and like I don't want to screw this up, because you can quickly break the figures if you didn't do it right. And so when I came up with the O-ring clips for it, I was like, well, now all my figures have strong legs. And but it's funny. I have a box of parts and doubles and all kinds of Motu guys that I do for traders. And some guys will be like, okay, I'll trade you for these ones. And I'm like, okay, just warning you, like the legs are firm and tight, but they have these buttons that I've designed. And they're like, no, I don't want them. I don't really. I want original leg bands or nothing. And I was like, oh, so you want the wobble legs? Yeah, please.
Yeah,
wobble legs would be great.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay. And so I don't tell anybody how to collect, but I like to have firm legs that people can stand with.
Yeah.
Everything I own gets open, so it's got to be displayable.
It has to be displayable. Exactly. I always say if you can't display, we leave it for another day. That's
That's a good one.
And then this guy.
There he is.
Look at him.
That would look good as a man-at-arms.
Yeah, if there was a man-at-arms version.
I don't know where would we find such a thing.
I don't know either. Now, does anybody have this Roboto?
I do not.
I've got this very version of it. Yes.
Does his gears work?
Let me go get it.
The vintage Roboto, that blew my mind. That his gears were.
His lip
went like it was a whole.
Yeah.
He was a fun toy. Now, the rumor growing up in Nipigon, Ontario, where I was a young lad, was that this was the design, like the Fearless Photog.
Oh, really?
Winner. that like, oh, somebody designed Roboto. It was a kid that designed it.
You're right.
Yeah.
There he is.
All right, let's do it.
Moment of
you know-
truth.
Yeah, can you bring me up a bit closer so we can have a look at the?
Fine.
Please, please, please.
I'll get you there.
So does this count as a science fiction situation?
I would
Because
say it does.
I would say yes.
Go, Roboto.
Oh, it
Look at
does.
that.
It
Look at
does
that.
move.
I am Roboto, Mr. Roboto.
Okay, so that's
Missing
fantastic.
thing.
Thank God for that.
Nothing in the back.
If you guys are looking for a Roboto, he is in stock at Big Bad
In
Toy Stores
stock.
right now. So thank you to that.
I'll go get one.
That makes me even a little angrier that Roboto looks great, he works, and they couldn't get the Battle Armor He-Man to be the right size.
Yeah, really.
Do the arms still come out? Let's find out. Hey, the arms still come
There
out.
you go.
Yeah, you see? Now with the
I
orange,
wonder,
will
his accessories fit into the vintage version of it, or will they
that's
be
a good question.
will they be completely different?
Well, it's a put yours against the screen and I'll try and plug it in.
I think the bigger question is, are they swappable with Trapjaw's accessories?
Oh, they had better be.
Oh yes.
I don't have a trapjaw handy. I've only got the heroes on display. I don't have room for the baddies yet.
Don't have room for the baddies.
To be determined.
But this is another one I think that they've nailed with Origins, that he looks just like the vintage one, with some elbow and knee joints. So I think this one for me is one that, and again, I'm not a modern figure buyer. That's not what I do. He was hard to leave on the shelf in the store when I saw him. I was like, look at that. That's a fun figure.
Yeah.
And again, how is it that Battle Armor He-Man was deluxe and
this isn't?
This isn't, with all the moving parts and the
I know.
tooling and the
Three
clear
different attachments. Yeah. I like the colors of the comic version one coming out too.
Yeah, that's a cool variant. And again, that's the kind of stuff that Origin should do, right? Like give us. It doesn't cost them anything to do it, so give it to us.
So,
And it can be a whole new character if you want it to be.
Yeah.
Oh, he totally could be. Roboto Minion. Roboto Miner.
Roboto builds his own army.
Yeah, really. Machines building machines.
Machino.
I look at Roboto. I look at this version, which is ostensibly looks very much like the vintage version, and I always look at that. Adam, you called it the lip.
Yeah.
I see that every time I look at that. You know what I see? I see medieval knight visor.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it just blows me away. I'm like, okay, but he's got the blue, almost like a Cylon kind of eye thing going on.
RoboCop visor.
Yeah.
Hey, Gap's in the house. Hey, Gap after dark.
Gap after dark. Represent.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, Hedgehog action talking about the Vac Metal He-Man. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But so to me, talking about the Vac Metal He-Man, that one to me always looked like Flying Fist He-Man.
Yeah.
Right? The Vac Metal Battle Armor, it looked like the Flying Fist He-Man to me. So I was like, well, just wait for Flying Fist He-Man.
Wait for Flying Fists. Yeah.
Right?
I can do without Flying Fist He-Man.
Right.
Once I got Thunder Punch, I'm good now.
Can we say that it was a bold choice in the vintage line to release a He-Man without a sword?
The gimmick of the weapon, it says dumb as Spycore's blunt trident. It's just
I would say it's dumber.
dumber, yeah.
It makes sense to me in the idea that it's. I think of like a bolo.
Yeah.
Spinning a bolo. Yeah. It's a bolo before you throw it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah,
it doesn't make it any better than what it actually is.
What's he called again?
Flying Fists?
Flying Fist. Where's
Flying
the Flying Fists?
Yeah, really.
Well, because he's got that speed skating action.
No. Garbage.
Garbage.
They should have stopped at Battle Armor. Battle Armor was all they needed.
That's all
That's
they
where
needed.
they peaked with He-Man.
Phil.
Yeah.
Phil.
I'm just jealous that you've got it and I don't, Zazel.
So
This one
would
doesn't
you guys-
do tap though.
where would you guys rank out of 10 Wave 3 Vintage, and Wave 3 Origins.
Oh wow.
So for me, Wave
Which
3
is better.
Vintage is a 10 out of 10. It's maybe one of the most best wave. That sounds like I don't know how to speak, but I think that there's not
Sounds
much
like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, there's not much wrong with Wave 3 Vintage. And the Wave 3 Origins for me, the basic figures of Merman, Zodak, and Roboto were near perfect, but the battle armor stuff was the beginning and the end for me. So I get a strong 50%.
Yeah, I like how you've gone and given them two different rankings, style of rankings. You've gone percentage for the later ones, but you've gone a 10 system for the original. So given
I don't know how it works in Australia, but 10 out of 10 is essentially 100%.
Well, yeah, I get that. It's just that you didn't say 5 out of 10. You get 50%.
The Vintage line gets 3 stars, and the Origin was 2 thumbs up.
Okay, perfect. These are all things I'm going to learn before I go to Canada.
Yeah.
I if as a kid getting Wave 3, if I got any of those characters, including Clawful, which I think is still a bit wacky in the head, as we it's a bit cartoony. But if I'd gotten any of those, I would have been super stoked. There's not a bad one in the bunch. Like I said, there are some that are probably better than others, but none of them are stinkers. None of them are spikers, right?
Yeah.
So I would give it three thumbs up. Canadian three Canadian thumbs up for that wave.
The third one is maple flavored.
So
we don't want to lick vintage toys.
Robot head looks like Gizmo Duck. It does.
Gizmo
it really does.
Duck. Yes, it does.
Whack 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 whack. As far as the Origins wave, I would give it I'll give it a jar of Vegemite, I reckon. It's like it's not bad, but it's an acquired taste. So I understand the issues. It is the beginning. It is the beginning of the adult mentality for collecting, because they've gone accessorized a character and made him a deluxe based only, when you look at it like you showed it before, based only on the WoW tiers of adult collectors like myself, who wanted the original He-Man head. So yeah, it's
Yesterland Toys is tuning in.
Hey.
hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yesterland.
What a beauty
Welcome
that
to
guy is.
today.
What's that?
I said, what a beauty that guy.
Oh yeah.
Beauty. So Phil, what are your thoughts?
I think it's like apples and oranges. Like, I feel a bit sorry for Origins. Basically, how can you compete with
Apples
that
and Origins?
Apples and Origins. There you go.
There's a
Basil,
segment.
you get me, buddy.
I'm hearing you.
Wave 3 Vintage, just an absolute home run. Some of the best figures in the entire line in Wave 3. So I think comparing Origins to it, it's on a hiding to nothing really. And those battle armor versions of Origins are hugely disappointing, and just they failed there, I think, big time. One head, please. I'm not keen on these multi-head. You lose them. They're just extra things to lose, and you got to bag them up, and just a pain in the ass. So for me, Vintage wins this round.
And Wes, what are your final thoughts on Wave 3 and 3?
Oh, final thoughts. I'm gonna start with let's start with Origins. Keeping it sort of in the space that I like to play in. Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 3 gets 1 Cassian Andor out of 3. But they get a B2 EMO for trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Harmonize She-Ra into the line.
Right.
Masters of the Universe Vintage Wave 3. That's a solid 2 Cassian Andors out of 3. I agree that it's very much some of the better figures of the line. If you were coming to Motu at that point in the line, you are not without a main hero or villain, so you were still well within the jump off point. So yeah, two Cassians out of 3.
Beautiful. Well, before we head out here, I would like to just take one more second to look at the genius that is the creation of the Sentinel Man-at-Arms here.
He looks way better. It looks way better than I could have than I had envisioned, to be honest with you.
This could have been, now follow me this. I don't know if you intended this, but other than the head, everything you see here is a Wave 3 part.
I did not actually have any conscious recollection of that, to be honest.
Right? So we could easily, at this time, had a Sentinel Man-at-Arms as part of Wave 3.
There's a lot of other secondary, tertiary characters in Masters of the Universe that do deserve honest to goodness, true variants that actually serve the story. Yeah, and I firmly believe that Man-at-Arms got the short end of that.
Yeah, no, he definitely was a guy who could have got a variant figure, and this one would be great, and hopefully it will be great when it comes to we're there.
Adam, I don't think you're ever going to finish completing your line, buddy, because you're going to just keep making these new versions. It's just going to be a never-ending story for you.
And I'm okay with that as long as I never need to put a twistoid on my shelf. So there we go.
Awesome stuff.
Well, guys, thank you for this morning. Wes, thank you for being here.
Thanks for the invitation. Always love to hang out and make some new friends.
It's beauty. If you guys have not, I'm going to plug this stuff again. Go follow Fandom Power. You will not be disappointed. It's a 4 out of 3 Cassian Andors. That show over there.
4 out of 3 Cassians. Yep.
There you go. And you will. We're back to Zazel's channel for next Motuesday, correct?
Oh yeah, as soon as we can line up our schedules again, I'll think of a guest. I really want to have Eldor on the show, Masterversal Toy Hunter. I just love, I love the gimmick. I love his passion. So I'm going to try and reach out and see if we can get Eldor.
I think we should do a bit like, remember when Will Ferrell was doing the Harry Carey thing, and he was like, "Next week we're going to have Albert Einstein on the show."
Yeah.
We'll try and get him anyways.
We're gonna try and get him.
Yeah. So next week on the show, Hordak will be here.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Yeah, just idle promises. Guys, this has been fantastic. So from all of us at Motuesday, thank you for tuning in and have a great Tuesday.
Have a great day, guys.
Oh, play that outro.
Oh, yeah, we gotta play the outro. Hopefully it's gonna work this time. I mean, it's going to work this time.
It's definitely going to work.
Here we go.
Love it.
It's coming.
Oh, that's the end of it. Hold on.
Rewind.
Ooh.
Nailed it.
That's awesome.
That was how the show was supposed to be.
Even better that it ended that way.
Even as opposed to just a planet and a soundtrack.
Worth the wait.
There you go. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you all very soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.